Welcome to the Christina Crooks Show, where you not only get to know the many versions of moi, but also the rich tapestry of humanity. I invite you to bring your full curiosity and listen as we journey through people's stories and expertise. I hope you walk away with insights and inspiration and new possibilities bubbling up inside of your soul. The reason it's called the Christina Crooks Show is because here's the thing. I don't always want to do the same thing. I like a variety in my life. I like to explore different rabbit holes and different people and different interests. So together in this podcast, that's exactly what we'll do. Have fun, and we'll see you soon. Hello, listeners of the Christina Crooks Show, conscious conversations about life, business, and relationships. In today's episode, we are going to talk about, well, let me back that up. I am going to talk to you about boundaries, the importance of boundaries, how we create boundaries, and how we know when we're on point with setting boundaries for ourselves and people around us. So the ontological equation for this is self-awareness plus self-care equals self-respect, which equals boundaries. It's my belief that once we are over 30, 35, somewhere around that area, we start to naturally have more awareness of ourselves, of how things work in the world. We start putting more of the pieces together. Now, if you're consciously practicing that and you are intentional in how you live your life, that's going to happen more rapidly. You're going to gain more and more awareness all the time because you're seeking it out. But just naturally, with the way that we age as human beings, we tend to learn more about our surroundings and about ourselves as we get older. I've been on a personal growth path, a really intense one, for the last 8 years. And in this period of time for me, I've taste tested my life along the way. And I've been able to check in recently and see how much progress I've made in myself and in my life. So let's come back to boundaries. I ran a workshop once a few years ago on boundaries. It was called Love versus Fear. And then I moved some things around and it became a workshop on boundaries. And what I discovered in that process of creating that workshop and walking the people through the different exercises and walking them through the different learnings is, if we're going to talk about boundaries, we have to talk about your self-care. We have to talk about what you do in a day to make sure your cup is filled. Every relationship has 3 versions: my relationship with myself, my relationship with you, and my relationship of us. So me, you, us. But most people come from that, or they relate to it in you, us, me, or us, you, me. And the me is usually last, especially in a culture where people are so concerned with becoming a narcissist or having narcissistic behaviors or being selfish, any of those kinds of characteristics. Oftentimes people don't want to be associated with those. So they end up, the flip side of that is you end up being the martyr and you don't do anything for yourself. Well, imagine if you're running errands for everyone else, but you never stop to fill up the gas tank. Eventually you're going to run out of gas and then you're going to need someone's help. And they're going to go, why didn't you fill up your gas tank? You passed a gas station like 10 times. Why did I have to drive all the way out here to fill up your gas tank when you passed many? Like, you were so busy giving everybody else. And we are the same way. Maybe you wake up and you need to meditate in the morning. Maybe you always take a shower in the morning. Maybe you always take a tub or a bath at the end of the night. Maybe music is your thing. Maybe hugs are your thing and physical touch. Maybe reaching out to one person and having a connected conversation once a day is your thing. But if you make a list of 10 things that would make every day feel like your birthday, and you do those things, boundaries are going to come like nobody's business, because now you respect yourself enough to fill your cup and put your own mask on, fill up your own gas tank, whatever analogy you want to use, before you start supporting other people. If you support other people and your tank is empty, you're going to be agitated. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to feel taken advantage of. You're going to get used. You're going to have people that traditionally would rather just take find you. You're going to have people with narcissistic behaviors find you because you will put yourself last. If you taste test your life and you don't like what you taste, it's up to you to change it. Because what you're seeing now are habits you incorporated yesterday, last week, 2 years ago, behaviors you've engaged with people in that you made that okay. When it comes to boundaries, the equation, the ontological equation is self-awareness plus self-care equals self-respect, which equals boundaries. Boundaries are a natural byproduct of self-care and self-love and self-awareness and self-respect. When you put you first and make sure that everything that's going on here in this human meat suit is on point for you, you're drinking enough water, you're eating the best that you can, you get some exercise in a day, you find things to be grateful for, you play more than you complain, you look for things to get curious about rather than things to judge. When you incorporate all those kinds of things and you make sure that internally inside of you, inside your mind, inside your gut, inside your heart, you're solid. Now you can give to other people and you will be very clear what's okay and what's not okay with you. So let me give you a quick example. Something I hear often when people are talking about setting boundaries is they say, yeah, I have a real hard time saying no. And I say, do you have a hard time saying yes? And they said, not really. That's part of the problem. I say yes to too many things. I mean, this is a made up conversation, but this is oftentimes how it goes. I've heard it over and over and over. And the thing I come back to is when you say yes to something, you say no to something else. And when you say no to something, you say yes to something else. We're always choosing yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And when you get in the habit and the practice of taste testing your life, you'll get a lot more clear on where your yeses and nos are. So recently, I've been checking in a lot more with myself because I've been doing a lot of new things. I've been doing this podcast. I've been visiting new friends. I've just been doing a lot more things I haven't been doing, or a lot of new things. So I've been checking in with myself a lot. Does this feel expansive or does this feel contractive? Which is another level of the yes and no. Is this a yes for me or is it a no for me? So if something's a yes for me, it feels expansive. It feels like I want to jump in. It may still be scary, but as long as I take a deep breath, it's exhilarating. On the other hand, if it's a no, it's more of I need to make a choice. Oh, and I'm caving in on myself, and I can feel my whole core and my heart contract. Like that's not really like I feel a visceral response. So the more our bodies are just, it's like our bodies have all these sensory tentacles where we're sensing things all the time. And if you can get into the habit of taste testing your life, if you can get into the habit of checking in with yourself and going, do I like what I see? Is my life a big wholehearted yes? Or is it a stanky no? Do I want to crawl into a hole and hide from my life? Or do I really enjoy every moment and can't wait until I wake up the next day? And even if I don't, I love my life as it stands right now. I always wanted to get to a part of my life where I wasn't waiting to do something. Like if for whatever reason I got suddenly sick, I would be very satisfied with my life thus far because I made the choices that I wanted to make. And it took years for me to get there. And I can proudly say that I'm there now. However, there's a caveat. That doesn't mean I don't slide backwards sometimes. It doesn't mean that there aren't days or even weeks that something in my day-to-day life is happening and it's challenging. And I can forget to serve me first, and I can forget to check in and taste test my life, or I can be complaining about something that's not going the way I want it to, because I'm human. But here's the difference for me now in my life versus 8 years ago. Now I have a tool set. I have many tool sets to handle those times. And because I check in often with myself internally, I catch it sooner. So recently I checked in several different days. And when I say check in, sometimes it's a meditation, sometimes it's just getting quiet, sometimes it's a guided meditation, sometimes it's just 10 to 15 minutes of, well, let me not lie, 10 minutes max. It's up to 10 minutes of just quiet and silence where I just notice my thoughts and notice what's happening and take the temperature, my internal temperature, to see, what do I need right now? Do I need a green smoothie? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need some water? What's the next thing I need to do? And some days are slow like that. Some days I just need to go, what's the next thing? So let me pull back to boundaries. When you start to incorporate wellness and self-care and practice self-awareness, the boundaries are a natural byproduct. And that byproduct has two parts. It'll be boundaries with other people, what you're willing to do and not willing to do, what you have the capacity to handle and what you don't, what you are willing to expend and what you're not energetically. But it's also boundaries with yourself. So for example, a boundary for myself is I will get this podcast out every week. Now, up until last week, it's every Wednesday, and that's still my goal. But last week was a really busy week and I couldn't get to it. And this week will be the same. You'll get this on Thursday. So my goal is still Wednesday, but I'm not going to stress myself out over it. What I will do is not miss by Thursday. So if you don't see an episode on Wednesday, you will definitely see it Thursday. But how we handle those moments where we break a commitment with ourselves, we break a contract we've created with ourselves, means everything. Like, do you berate yourself or do you go, it's okay, just don't do it twice? Like, what do you need to do to get this habit under control? And that has shifted so much for me. So this is your action from this episode, because I'm going to give you an action because that's what I feel like doing. Feel free to do it if you like. Feel free to push it aside if it doesn't resonate with you. If every day felt like your birthday and you broke down 10 different things that would make that day feel like your birthday, what are those 10 things? And begin checking them off on your day, because I guarantee you your productivity and your efficiency in your day with your families, with your work, with your company, whatever it is you're doing in life, will correlate with your self-care number. So you have 10 items, write a Monday through Sunday grid. And if you reach out to me, kcrooks@empoweredhuman.com, I can send you the form I use with clients. I'm happy to share it. a full point for each one that you do, and a half a point for each one that you kind of do or you started but you didn't finish, and a 0 for the ones you didn't. So the first week you track this, and then you give yourself, you tally them at the end of the day. So you have 10 items. If you got 5 of them done, and then you got 2 of them half done, that would be 7 or 6 points. It'd be 5 full points and then 2 half points. So 6 points, it'd be 60% for the day. Then you take those along the bottom and you average those out. Like I said, if you send me a message, find me somewhere on the socials or send me an email, I'm happy to share that with you. Just say wellness checklist and I'll send it over. Your productivity and your efficiency will match that, most likely. Most people start out around 40 to 50%. They're living a half life. And I would bet that your productivity is right about the same, matching that wellness checklist. So the first week, you just track it. You don't try to change anything. You just notice how you behave. You just notice what you're doing. And you get that score at the end. Then the next week, you can start changing some things around and seeing what that rhythm is going to be like for you, and more actively practicing getting those things in. Because when you start hitting those 80% weeks, you're going to feel amazing, because it's like giving yourself a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual hug, like over and over and over. So go be amazing. Go have a great day, a great week, a great life. But I'll be here for more. So for this week, your messages about boundaries, I hope that you got something from it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and leave us a comment below what you thought, how that exercise worked for you. And if you're just listening on the podcast, I would love if you follow the podcast and reach out to me. Let me know what you think. I'm sure there's a way you can leave a message on there. I don't know what that is yet, but go have a great week. Thanks, everybody.